to win in this league, and you really have to be prepared and ready for every single week, because we know what can happen if you're not prepared and if you're not locked in and have energy. So we've learned from our mistakes in the past, and we're able to use that now moving forward and continue to prepare and be prepared for a 60-minute battle.
Adam Thielen, a couple cliches in there. Being prepared for a 60-minute battle.
60-minute battles are tough, Phil. Very, very tough. There's only there's 16 chances, though.
There are 16 chances to win games in the National Football League. I'm Phil Mackey. That's Judd Zulgad. Declan Goff is the producer, as always. And this is Purple Daily. You can find us in audio form on Apple, Spotify, and ScoreNorth.com. And our YouTube channel. Thank you guys for helping us get over 11,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. YouTube.com/Purple Daily Podcast. During the season, we're giving you 7 days a week Vikings content. Real quick off that Adam Thielen soundbite. So the NFC playoff picture right now, the Vikings are a half game behind the Bears for the 8th spot. 7 teams get in because we've added a wild card team. So those teams start with the Seahawks on the lowest rung at 6-3. The Rams are also 6-3, and then you get to Buccaneers at 7-3. You do have a matchup with them, so you could effectively sort of kill 2 birds, 1 stone there. But as you look at sort of the bottom rung of wildcard teams right now, Tampa, the Rams, and the Seahawks, which one of those are you smelling blood with right now? If you're the Vikings trying to climb up, which one are you hunting?
Seahawks.
Is it Seahawks?
It's Seattle.
The Seahawks defense is historically atrocious. I mean, they can't. Wilson's a great player, and I get that. And as the Vikings saw in their Sunday night matchup, Wilson can single-handedly win games. That being said, the closer that you get to the playoff picture or closer to it, Seattle can't stop teams. Like, they just can't.
And if Russell Wilson's like off for 2 weeks or something,
and he's had and he has had back-to-back games in which he has not been himself. And part of that might be just him naturally saying, I can only do so much here, right? Like, he's got to go into every game. It's not like, well, the defense is sort of bad and you're really good. No, the defense is, to say it again, historically bad. So if I'm Wilson going into games, I might be saying to myself at this point, hold on a second here. So you want me to single-handedly get us to, let's say, 35 points, and you're going to give up at least 30, if not more. So I am hunting Seattle in a big way. And I don't know that they can make the playoffs if you're just going to try and do it with the quarterback and Metcalf, and that's it.
When you say historically bad, are there things about Seattle's defense that are? Yeah. I mean, I've watched them be bad, but
I saw a statistic a couple, I believe it was last week or the week before, that I think the Packers, like the year they won the Super Bowl, were actually as far as giving up yards, not good. And then there was a team more recently in the last few years, the Saints, that might have topped that.
Okay.
But like, they're one of they're on track to give up, I think, the most yards among like top 5 all time, something like that.
So Seattle's defense is giving up an average of 30 points per game right now.
Yeah.
And it's not even, so Dallas is giving up 32. Jacksonville, the Jets, and the Lions are also giving up 30. So they're sort of jumbled up and tied with those other teams. And as bad as the Vikings defense was early in the year, they've sort of at least turned it around against the division opponents. I think you guys are probably right. I might have overrated Seattle a little bit when I had them number 1 in the pecking order like a month ago. I can't remember if Declan was along
you
for
the Packers.
I think I had the top 3, but yes, I did have the Packers as number 1 at one point.
Yeah, both you guys. Come on.
But the only thing is, like, if they get into a close matchup, this is the ultimate trump card. Like, they're not going to play again unless they meet in the playoffs. But if it comes down to it, and Russell Wilson, like, all right, we need you to bail out a bad defense, I do trust that to happen.
Yeah.
And so I would probably say that they are the lowest hanging fruit, but Russell Wilson is going to turn it around, and he's really, really good at football. So we'll see if the Vikings can beat the Cowboys and climb back to 500. This thing becomes even more real. We'll get into our purple positivity here in a second, but I want to ask you guys, with Ricky Rubio making his return to the Timberwolves last night, the Timberwolves traded the 17th pick for a couple later first-round picks, and Ricky Rubio coming back. Are there any Vikings homecomings that you guys would love to? I know Declan has one.
Yes.
That you'd love to see at some point here in the near future.
Go ahead, Dex.
I would cry tears of joy if Teddy Bridgewater came back. There would be actual tears. Like, was it Monty Ball when he was with the Broncos? It just like the tears were pouring out during the national. That will be me. in my apartment with my Corona hard seltzers, clinging to both hands.
That's why you're drunk at that point in time.
No,
why?
Why?
Dex?
I can.
Dude,
Why?
actually, Ricky Rubio and Teddy Bridgewater, a lot of similarities.
Yes, they are.
A lot of similar. Super likable. Probably not as good
That's
as likable.
Change that face.
But still valuable.
Right.
Change that face.
I just think he has all the intangibles and he can do it. In that preseason, we saw it in 2016.
It was
we
one
saw it.
I mean, I liked him too, but
We
it was
saw he
one
was ready to
preseason
take
game
the
against
next
San
step.
Diego.
But what is your I think what Judd's asking is, because I agree, I would love to see Teddy back in purple at some point too. I'd love to see Adrian Peterson finish his career in a Vikings uniform.
Oh no.
No. 1 day contract. Those stupid 1 day. I'm retiring as a Viking. That's fine. No, I don't want him anywhere near here.
But what is it that what is the emotional attachment to Teddy for you? Is it the injury? What?
Well, the injury, yeah. I mean that stunk, but it was just the fact that he was the first legitimate first round pick quarterback since Dante Culpepper that was turning into something. I mean, I'm a big Dante Culpepper guy too, so I loved Dante. And Ponder was such a big whiff, and Teddy Bridgewater was so beloved by his teammates. And you saw something brewing there in that preseason where he could throw the deep ball, and this was going to be a different type of offense. It wasn't just going to be a handoff machine. It literally is the high school sweetheart that died on prom night. That's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened.
She snapped her leg.
She died in a car crash. She died on the way to my house. That's exactly what happened.
There's songs about that.
Yeah, Susie Q. It's exactly what happened.
Actually, there's a great Chris Stapleton's new album has a full song about his dog dying.
Yes,
which
that
is
is it.
Really
no,
sad.
I can't do that.
Dude.
No.
Dog deaths.
Humans, I'm
So
fine.
sad.
Dogs, no. No, I can't do dogs.
Dogs are Judd's weak spot.
Humans, okay, whatever.
I'm with Judd,
we
man.
die.
If you're ranking the people and the animals, and I grew up on a hobby farm with
Can't do
horses,
it.
dogs, cats. If you're ranking the people and the animals in my life that I've been the most sad about, more than half are animals.
Completely opposite for me.
Commercial I can't watch. Those long ones where they show all of these dogs
Sarah
suffering.
McLachlan?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
dude.
can't watch that. I can't watch it. It rips my heart out.
So sad.
I can't see dying dogs. It's terrible.
Yeah.
My rule of thumb in football, especially, never bring anybody back. I don't want anybody back because in football, Teddy's an interesting one because it was so sad. But if you're talking about Peterson or a great player from your past, it probably means that he had a good start there and potentially played 5 years. In football, I'm done then. That's it. No one's coming back.
If Xavier Rhodes wants to keep playing the way that he played the first part of the season in Indy, I'd bring him back next year.
And they actually did try, and he's like, no, see you later, bye. And then is gone and had a good year. So,
yeah.
But I mean, do you think of in baseball, okay, Torrey comes back, right? And he's not great, but I mean, he's still a good player at that point in 2015. In football, I think it's dangerous because you're ordinarily so used up by that point in time that I don't think there's a lot left to give the team if you come back to him.
Yeah, I think, usually if you let a guy go when he's 28 or something, is he going to still be the same guy when he's 30? Like Dante Culpepper, you had to part ways with him, right? Would it have been fun if Dante's knee wasn't shredded to have him come back to the Vikings 5 years later? Yeah, but he was cooked. So I'll go with you on that one in the NFL to some extent. The Randy Moss thing, I will say when Randy Moss came back and he was released 10 years ago, November 1st. So happy 10-year anniversary. It's one of the biggest train wreck homecomings
I wouldn't
in
eat that.
Vikings history.
Feed that to my dog.
The Tanucci's. Yeah.
Jerseys out.
But as a longtime professional wrestling fan, and Declan's been a professional wrestling fan, there's nothing greater than the surprise return when The Rock comes back after 7 years in Hollywood, or when Brock Lesnar comes back after being, in the UFC and making a run in the NFL. If you're a true professional wrestling fan, you basically you wade through 90% crap for the 10%, oh my God, return. The Hardy Boys at WrestleMania.
No joke.
Right?
That return. And not to get really deep and dark, but that was 4 or 5 days after my mom passed. And
the
that
Hardy Boys?
Yes. That WrestleMania. And that pop, that was the most pure excitement I had experienced in 5 or 6 days.
Jeff Hardy doing his little dance.
I literally watched it on YouTube probably 6 or 7 times throughout the year.
But you just
for a little pick me up.
But that describes sports, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
We watch, but sports as a whole, we watch how many crappy games because it makes that one game special, right?
And so people look back at the Randy Moss thing, and I think it's just sort of widely thought, oh, that was a complete train wreck and a disaster. And Yeah, like on the field, it was a disaster. But if you're a professional wrestling fan mindset guy, the fact that he came back and it was like, oh my God, that's Randy Moss's music, it makes it fun. So I can't think of anybody else. I would like to see Peterson come back and get a couple carries with the Vikings. You guys hate that idea.
Yeah.
If
Bridgewater would be fun.
If ownership was like completely wiped out, I would love for Diggs to come back because I do love using stuff on Diggs, but it will never happen if it's a Kubiak, Zimmer, Spielman.
Yeah, man. Diggs as a possession guy in like 5 years with Justin Jefferson as the best wide receiver in the NFL. That could be a fun little pairing. So, anyways, let's get to our purple positivity segment of the week here, which we do on Thursdays. Let's go around the room.
Okay.
Maybe multiple laps if we feel like it.
There's a lot of positivity these days. A lot of positivity. About a 4-5 team, right?
It's funny because we started this as a way like, man, this is going to be a drag of a season. Let's pump up the optimism a little bit. Now it's like, oh, they're winning every week. All right, go ahead, Judd.
Purple positivity number 1. The Vikings are 4-5 overall, but they are 3-1 in the NFC North after going 2-4 in the division in 2019. In other words, they are in much better shape divisional record-wise right now than they were last year, and that could be important. Again,
what's the
3-1 in the division for the Vikings?
Are they undefeated in the division?
They're 2-1.
No, because they lost the Vikings.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
At Lambeau Field.
2-1.
So anyway, positivity is record-wise, the Vikings in the division in very good shape. Dex?
I'll go a little off the cusp here, and it's going to go with jerseys. So the Vikings are wearing the all-purple jerseys on prime time, against the Cowboys, which I believe was originally a Sunday Night Football game, right? They then moved it to 3 o'clock or something.
No, it's always been 3 o'clock.
Okay, but anyway, the prime time purple, baby, all giddy up purple. I love those home jerseys. And then Mike Zimmer talked about yesterday on all the white jerseys, and Bill Parcells told him that this was a thing to do because the offense can see better. Regardless, I'm all for superstitions. Here's the clip.
Like, for instance, the other night, which something that I'll throw out there, that he said, I really loved your uniforms the other night. And I said, why, coach? He said, well, when he was a young coach, they told him that, if you wear all white at night and you're on the road, that your offense can see the uniforms better and you can perform better. So, I thought that was kind of interesting. But those are some of the things he talks about.
I love that.
I don't mean to be crass, but before my parents died, there was a point when I would talk to them on the phone where I knew that it was just time to go. And they would say things sort of like that. Hey, I loved your all white uniforms. That look good.
Bill Parcells is still
I think
sound of mine.
I think Bill has lost his fastball. Let's just say
You're telling me
I'm just saying
as a guy who just turned 51.
Bye, Bill, I gotta go.
When you're watching the Vikings on TV, it's a little easier to spot Justin Jefferson and Thielen running around, running their routes.
I'm telling you that if I'm Zim, it's at that point in time. I'm like, Bill, why don't you take your nap and drink a glass of warm milk and have a cookie and retire for the night.
Okay, let me ask you this. How many Super Bowls did Bill Parcells win with the Giants?
You won a couple.
Yeah. And what color did they wear on the road in those night games during the 80s?
Ooh. All white, probably.
All white, yeah.
All white. Yeah.
Coincidence?
And you know what? He's now recalling that as his halcyon days, which is fantastic. And that's when I say to Bill, I got to go.
No faith in one of the legendary coaches.
Well, no. I mean, there comes a point in time where you just lose your fastball, okay? Take that for a soundbite.
By the way, I think the all-white uniforms are just aesthetically better than...
I like I'm fine with the all-white on the road, yeah.
And I remember, I grew up watching early 90s Vikings football. A lot of all-white uniforms. The Anthony Carter, 81.
Yeah, like just more traditional.
All right, purple positivity. The Vikings as a top 10 team in the NFL is not absurd. You guys laughed at me yesterday when I said I put them in my pigskin pecking order at number 10. Okay. Yeah,
I saw some tweets about it.
Did we post a clip of that?
I don't know.
Not yet.
But you got laughed at.
You got laughed at.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, we weren't laughing with you. We were laughing at you.
So if they beat the Cowboys and then they beat Carolina and you guys put them in your 10, just know that I was the innovator here. Okay. I saw it first. All right.
No problem.
Pro Football Focus has the Vikings.
No, I won't do it just out of principle. There's nothing they can do.
They win out.
They could win a Super Bowl. I'm like,
no,
nope, they're 11.
Cardinals. Pro Football Focus has the Vikings as the 11th best rated team right now. Football Outsiders has the Vikings 10th in both offensive and defensive DVOA.
Yeah.
They've got them 13th overall because of crappy special teams, which is a thing. I can't disagree with that. And 538 has them now, I think they're like 12th on 538, but a 36% chance to make the playoffs as of right now. and favored basically in all but 2 games. And we'll see what happens with the Saints.
Bucks and the Saints, they're not favored. Is that right?
I believe that is the case.
That would be the, okay.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Okay, of these next 3 home games, the Carolina one's probably the one that scares me most if Teddy's healthy and he wants to play the revenge angle. And if Christian McCaffrey comes back for any of those games, he's got the shoulder issue right now. I don't think Dallas, even with Dalton coming back, like it could be kind of a trap game, but
yeah, I can't tell.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Jacksonville does not scare me one bit.
Oh, I think they don't care. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say that. They played the Packers fairly tough, but I still... Doug Marone's such a buffoon. I can't get my head around the fact that they would care.
I also feel like sometimes the Packers, like they just sort of, like they might jump out to an early lead against a bad team at noon on a Sunday, and then they just sort of coast. Like that's a classic Packers
thing. They're not
to
super engaged, are they?
No.
Like in games.
No,
mind wanders. No. All right, I'm going to go back to a calling card of the Purple Positivity Thursday segment. Justin Jefferson, okay? He is 7th in the National Football League, not among rookies or something. I'm talking about in the entire league among everybody with 762 receiving yards. Conversely, he is only tied for 24th with 42 receptions.
Yeah.
In other words, this guy is big play JJ all over the field. And if he starts to get thrown to more, which at some point in time, either in 2020 or 21, or at some point in time, he's going to, I mean, every statistic that you see about this kid just solidifies your belief that this is a star player. And again, to be 7th in the league in receiving yards and 24th in actual receptions, to me, drives home the point that this is a special player. And 2, I mean, he's had what? 4 really good games and like 5 games where he's played a role, but has certainly not been a central part. The positivity here is that the Vikings do have a star player, and I think it's only going to increase how much you see him eventually making big plays and getting the ball.
I'll give you a couple more in the Justin Jefferson statistical bin. So yards per reception among guys who've caught at least 30 passes this season. DJ Moore is number 1 at 18.9 yards per reception, and then DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson are tied at number 2 with 18.1 yards per reception. Here's another one. Catch percentage, okay? So this is what percentage of targets did you catch? And Justin Jefferson's at 78%. So when you throw him the ball, now Kirk's pretty accurate for the most part. So it's not like he's
right.
Most of the passes thrown to him, there's a chance to catch, but that's pretty amazing. You throw 10 passes, he catches 8 of them. Justin Jefferson. Dex?
My guy is Garrett Bradbury for Purple Positivity Thursday. So Bradbury this season making a big improvement. His PFF grade 74.6. That is a gigantic improvement from last year of 58.1.
On the season, he's a 74.
He's a 74.6 overall in 2020 according to PFF. He has not allowed a sack this year. He's only had 1 penalty. He's played 563 snaps. I don't have his pass blocking, run blocking grades, but it's a point that we shouldn't have just given up on him, and you need to take time with some of these offensive linemen. And I've been very impressed with what he's been able to do. And he's been a big reason why I think the offensive line is still shorn up. Like, I don't look at is offensive line perfect? And is it a top 10 unit? No. But I do think it's schematically helping the Vikings win football games this year. So Garrett Bradbury. Good for you, man.
How about this? So, all right, Pro Football Focus. 39 qualified centers. Garrett Bradbury, 5th highest graded center in the NFL this year.
Yeah. The first round pick, that's great.
Most of it run blocking. So he's been great in the run block. He's the number 2 graded run blocking center. And when you factor in pass blocking, he falls into the 20s. But wow, but even the pass blocking is improved.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is he's the 5th best center in the NFL, run blocking forward. I think you'll probably take that though, especially with the approach that you've gone forward with this year.
Sad statement to make. But it's been heartening during the course of the year not to see the guards or Bradbury basically picked up and thrown backwards.
Yeah, true. I know.
I mean, we saw that last year.
Well, they picked up Pat Elflein and threw him backwards off the waiver truck.
Yeah,
now he's with the
but
Jets.
it's been a positive now in the last 4 or 5 weeks that you're not seeing guys basically just trucked.
I believe Bradbury didn't. Was it him that? No. Ezra Cleveland didn't practice yesterday.
Yeah, it's a little concerning.
Are we going to get Drew Samia off the
list? It's an ankle. He'll play.
I don't know, man. Those tree trunks. You chop down the tree.
You know what? You tape it up. You tape it up. You get a big old bad shot, Declan, and you go play.
Okay.
Like if you played a skill position, I'd be concerned.
Is Randy handing up victory shots?
Offensive linemen are tough as nails. He will play.
Okay. All right.
I don't know, dude. Drew some.
If he doesn't play, it's time to question Ezra Cleveland.
You got it.
Trying to question his manhood.
Do you want it, Ezra?
Purple positivity.
No, Drew Samia. Please, no Drew Samia.
The Vikings have the best skill position player set in the NFL. I'm ready to say it. And the only team.
Back it up. Yep, let's hear it.
If I'm missing something, let me know. The only team that would give me pause now is Tampa Bay with Antonio Brown in the mix. So Tampa Bay's got Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, and Chris Godwin as receivers. Gronk, but not the Gronk from a couple years ago. Like, he's fine.
Yep.
And Ronald Jones had a nice little run, 96 yards to the house. But give me Dalvin.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Jefferson, probably, if all these guys are playing at their best, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Justin Jefferson probably slots in second or third. But it all kind of depends on Antonio Brown and what he does the next few weeks. He's pretty good in his second game with the Buccaneers, but until he proves that he can be a force for the long haul. Atlanta, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, but Todd Gurley, I wouldn't take him over.
The Saints
Dalvin
don't
Cook.
have the depth of the Vikings, right? Because, I mean, they've got some great players up top of the depth
Michael
chart, but I
Thomas,
don't know that
Alvin
they
Kamara.
have the depth.
Mm-hmm.
And Cincinnati actually kind of sneaky with T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon when healthy.
Yeah.
Kansas City, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But I think I take the Vikings skill position player set, Thielen, Jefferson, Dalvin. And then you also get Irv Smith and Kyle Rudolph, reliable hands in the red zone. Am I nuts with that take?
I don't think it's nuts.
It might be a little controversial, but I don't think it's nuts.
I think it's probably meant to be on Purple Positivity Thursday. It might not make the Monday show, but I'm standing by it for now.
It doesn't pass the muster for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. No, Friday. No, Thursday. Yes, very
Purple
much.
Positivity Thursday. Yeah. Any other Purple Positivity things you guys want to throw?
If there was a National Football League award for bye-week adjustments by coaching staffs, the Vikings win it. The Vikings win it. I'm just going to go back to how bad this team looked in certain facets through 6 games. And I would argue that coaching played a role and expectations of coaching, and that I don't know that they were mismanaged across the board, but there were some like questionable decisions about how what the execution was going to be. And you think about these past 3 games, and the way that this team has played and where the focus has been. Zimmer and Kubiak during that bye week, and you can't tell me that this was not the case, went back to a drawing board and came up with different plans and expectations that I think it would be foolish. I think it'd be dumb to be like, well, they just got the break and came back and played well. They're doing things, and it doesn't even have to be an overhaul, Phil, but they're doing things differently, and Kubiak and Mike, I think, need to get credit for that.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, I think those guys deserved a ton of criticism, especially Kubiak early on for various things. But I think what you're seeing is 2 guys who've been in the NFL for a combination of like 50 years, and they know how to look at something that's not working, change the pieces around, coach things up, right? It's one thing to be a schemer. It's another thing to be able to draft talent. But when you have to adjust those things on the fly or coach those guys up or young players on the fly, and this is probably the hardest season to do those things in the history of at least modern NFL football, because you're not getting as much hands-on. You didn't get the offseason, you didn't get the preseason.
Right.
And so the coaching job these guys are doing without the same tools and I would even say like the groundwork that you would be able to lay in the offseason is pretty incredible.
I'm going to give you, off of that point, a Purple Positivity Thursday statement that you might sick the hot take police on me for, but I really believe it's true.
Let's get him ready.
As difficult as it was to watch and as pathetic as the performance was, I think I'm gonna outrun you, Copper. I'm outrunning you. I honestly think the Falcons game might have been the best thing that could have happened to this team.
What you want, what you gonna do when Chevy John don't come for you?
Hot Take Cops is recorded on location with the men and women of sports talk. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in Hot Take Court.
I mean, the counter argument to that is, well, that win would have them 5-4 right now.
But you could have won
3
Seattle,
straight home games.
Tennessee. My point is, I think the the Falcons game sent you back to a drawing board that puts us where we are now? Like, you realized Kirk was so bad, you couldn't keep on that track. And I think that turned it from Dalvin Cook is ultra important to what the Vikings are doing to we need to rely on Dalvin Cook. Now, that could blow up as well. I'm not saying that won't. But that game, I said, why didn't you bench Kirk? The answer came. They basically just changed Kirk's role.
Yeah. And benching Kirk would have just been purely for like punishing him and sending a message, because there's no like strategic reason to bench him.
I don't have kids, so I'm all for punishing people that don't do their jobs.
But when you start to look at like the full context of the season now and the 3 straight wins and the coaching turnaround, and then you look back at the 3 games in question, the first 2 games of the year, they just got their asses kicked by teams that are pretty good, the Packers and the Colts. But then that Titans game they lose in the last minute or whatever, the Seahawks game they lose in the last second, 1-point losses each, and then that Falcons game they should have just flat out won that game. If you give them 2 of those 3 or even 1 of those 3, you're feeling supremely confident about playoffs, and a lot of people at 4 and 5 are feeling supremely confident about playoffs.
Yeah, get the yard against Seattle on 4th and 1 at the Seahawks 6, and you got that game. Buzz off.
I got one more.
Oh, all right.
I got one more.
Please do.
So since the unique Ngakoue trade, the Minnesota Vikings are 3-0 and the Ravens are 1-2. So I'm just gonna but that's that's fine. That's not indicative on Ngakoue and edge rushers. But DJ Wanham over the last 3 games, 11 pressures. That is 8th most over the last 3 weeks in the NFL.
Wow.
Unique Ngakoue, since being traded to the Baltimore Ravens in 3 games, has just 2.
Wow.
2 pressures.
Only 2.
No sacks. Dare I say that the Vikings didn't need a unique Ngakoue, and they're better for it.
Wow. And by the way, DJ Wanham, what was he, like a 5th round pick?
5th or a 7th
like
round pick or
yeah,
something?
Yeah, it's like a 5th round pick.
Makes no money. And Unique Ngakoue, I was here, like the idea of Unique Ngakoue, I was ready to pay $20 million for.
Yeah.
I'm fine paying pass rushers. I'm fine paying cornerbacks.
I'm telling you guys, there's a story there with him, and I just don't know what the story is. Like,
yeah, I mean, the end in Jacksonville was not good.
And it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. There's something there. But I mean, you know what? Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for the Vikings. It worked.
And even like with
getting rid of him.
Because if I'm not mistaken, I believe Wanham, I'd have to go back and look, but I think he played some linebacker and defensive end in college. I think he was one of those sort of hybrid players. And Mata Afa probably falls in that category too. He's more of a linebacker size, but it looks like they've stumbled into a couple things here, and Adenabo can rush the passer. And once you get Hunter back, you can rotate.
They can develop ends. Like they do a good job.
They do.
They do a really good job of developing guys that can at least put pressure on quarterbacks.
Well, that's a wrap on Purple Positivity Thursday. Vikings, if you beat Dallas, you continue to make this Thursday episode very easy for us to praise you. So appreciate.
And if you don't, we're going to have to work our asses off to find something positive to say about you.
If you don't, we will find you and we will kill you.
All purple, huh? On Thursday,
all purple, baby.
On Sunday.
Love me some purple.
I don't like that all purple look.
Why?
That's just me.
They look like Barney the dinosaur.
It makes me want to throw up.
Couple of fun police over here.
No. I'm with Phil. The all white on the road was great. I'm just saying that Parcells trying to praise it is like, I can see guys is like, okay,
but doesn't Dallas oftentimes wear their white jerseys at home?
Yes.
So like
they do.
You have to wear something colored. If you can't, I don't think you can wear your all whites in Dallas because it would just be too confusing. Like you have to wear a colored jersey.
Correct.
So anyhow, that's a wrap on this episode of Purple Fashion Hunters. I'm Phil Mackey, Judd Zulgad, Declan Goff.
Okay.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.